They're some of the biggest, fastest, most thrilling forms of entertainment in the world. Spanning over the centuries, they've evolved from mine carts careening down a mountainside and passengers grasping on for dear life to some of the most mind-blowing technological constructions pushing the limits of adrenaline and physics. What are we talking about? Roller coasters. We're the Ride Guys.
The first ever episode of Ride Guys.
Ride Guys, here we are.
Yeah, why don't you explain to everybody what exactly our hopes and our attempts will be in entertaining people with this podcast?
Basically, it's an offshoot of Two Tenderfoot Tourists.
Yeah.
So you and Sandy had me come in a few times and we talked about roller coasters, rides, scary stuff on roller coasters at Halloween, which was awesome. And we had so much fun. You said, hey, let's do our own podcast and do this more often.
That's right.
So that's where we are.
Jason, like he said, he's been on the podcast on numerous occasions and we've always had a great time doing it. And if you'd like to listen to it, just go to our Two Tenderfoot Tourist podcast. You can find that at twotenderfoottourist.com, on Facebook, on Podbean, Apple, Spotify, everywhere, and just find the ones that even talk about a roller coaster,
right.
And Jason will be in there. So you kind of get an idea of what, and Jason is a roller coaster enthusiast, and you've been riding roller coasters since you could walk.
Well, maybe not quite that long, but that's pert near.
Did I oversell that?
No, not at all.
No. Okay. I mean, you're the kind of person, you have the mindset is like, I love roller coasters. I'm going to learn everything I possibly can about that roller coaster and all roller coasters, who made it, the people that were involved, the companies, everything about it, right?
As sad as that sounds, hearing it come from you, yeah, that's true.
Statistics and everything that goes involved. So this should be one heck of a roller coaster of a podcast. For anyone out there that like to learn more, this would be a great place for you.
This would be awesome.
Awesome. So, our plans on covering in the first episode is the Matterhorn.
Oh, we have to start with the Matterhorn.
We do, because it is quintessentially the thing that really changed roller coasters to what we have nowadays.
Yeah, for sure.
So, why don't you tell everybody what you know about the Matterhorn at this time?
Wow, how much time do we have?
No, 30 minutes.
I'm kidding. So the Matterhorn was revolutionary for its time. I mean, if you go ride it now, and if you and me went to California and hopped on now, you'd probably be like, this is kind of dumb and
it's kind of cheesy,
kind of lame. Yeah. But you've got to realize at the time it opened in 1959.
Yes.
So Disneyland was still in diapers at that point. It was a ride that changed the ride industry, and we can point to it as one of the reasons why we have the roller coasters and the rides we have nowadays. There was a couple of different, things that happened in a span of a few years, but building the Matterhorn was definitely one of those quintessential moments in the history of amusement parks and rides and roller coasters and all that. Disney had wanted something for his park. He was always noted for saying Disneyland will never be finished, and he was always wanting to plus everything, plus the park, plus a ride. So he never wanted to be satisfied and think, okay, we finally got it all here, we're done. He wanted Disneyland to always be a work in progress and adding and trying new things, and we've seen what it's blown up into these days. Okay,
so the inspiration behind the Matterhorn was based on a movie, correct?
Yeah.
Third Man on the Mountain.
I was trying to think of I knew Man on the Mountain. It was Third Man on the Mountain.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and then Disney had also, I believe, if I'm remembering right, made a trip over to Europe.
And while they're filming it, yeah.
Yeah, and he saw the Matterhorn, I think, and that was his inspiration for, I need to put one of those in my park and figure that out.
Right. Yeah.
So,
in fact, he sent a postcard to the guy who was over that, and he said, build me this.
I kind of remember that.
That's all he wrote on the back to this one guy. I can't remember his name, though.
And I think when they were just thinking about possibilities, I believe all that the first incarnation or the first vision for it was just kind of a slide down the side of the mountain. Is that right?
It was like a bobsled. It was like
Okay. So it went through, various, design thoughts and phases to get what we've got today. It definitely, it was something Disney had himself, before he died. It was something he was in charge of because, he wasn't around too much longer.
No.
I forgot what year he...
65?
65, okay.
Yeah.
So it was, he didn't see a lot, most of the rides that we have these days, but Matterhorn was definitely one that he was a huge part of.
Right. Yeah, he was. So, statistic-wise, as far as like the size of this mountain, of course it's like not nearly as big as the Matterhorn itself. Is only 80 feet tall, I believe.
Yeah, that's the size of the track. You're talking about the height of the track. The mountain actually extends above.
Oh.
So you've never ridden it, right, Steve?
No,
okay.
no. Are you kidding me?
And that's another fun thing about our podcast is you got me who will ride anything he sees, and Steve, who will get to that point. Who's yet
Someday.
who is not quite there yet. So
I don't know if my ticker can handle it.
Oh, your ticker can handle the Matterhorn, trust me.
I'm sure at 27 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, it's pushing it, but yeah. So
Yes.
the Matterhorn, the way it's set up, it actually has two sides. It's two roller coasters essentially
I
that
didn't know
weave
that.
together. Yeah. There's two sides, and they both go up a lift hill that's in the center. You get on and they start and you turn and go up a lift hill side by side, and it's in the middle of the mountain essentially.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So yeah, it's very cool. So it tops out at 80 feet, but the peak actually goes up to not quite 150 feet, 147.
Yep.
147 feet. So you've still got quite a bit of mountain above you once you get to the top of the lift hill or the top of the highest point of the actual roller coaster ride.
The inspiration was actually the Matterhorn, the real mountain
in Europe. Yeah.
In Europe, right. How tall is the actual Matterhorn? It is.
I was going to say like 1,000 feet.
It is. The Matterhorn is 14,692 feet.
Oh, well, see, there you go. I was only off by 13,000-ish.
So that's quite a bit. Okay, so, but
and Disney completely built it to scale, so it's...
Yes. It's really that big.
Yeah.
Now, before the Matterhorn actually went in, they basically, it was an answer to a problem that they had at the park.
That's right.
So, the problem is they had a huge mound of dirt from building Disneyland they couldn't afford to get rid of.
Right.
So they turned it into a park?
It was called Holiday Hill. I think he just slapped a bench on it, let some grass grow and slapped a bench on it, hoping people would just, go to Disneyland to sit on his pile of dirt.
It was free. It was okay.
Yeah.
But he built it. He ended up getting rid of it because kids were going out there and, necking, I guess, or making out.
Necking.
Yes. That's a 50s word.
I was going to say, wow, way to work that in. We're talking about a 50s roller coaster.
Okay, so yeah, they were going up there making out and stuff like that, and Disney did not like that. He didn't want
that kind of image at all for his park. Yeah.
So he said, you know what, we're going to just build the Matterhorn, right? And it's so what makes this roller coaster so unique as far as like what did they do in order to make this mountain come to be and the ride itself?
Well, what really the importance of the Matterhorn and what makes it unique was it was the first roller coaster to use tubular steel track.
Yes.
And you think, if I say the word roller coaster, an image that pops in your mind today, you've got basically two types of roller coasters now, steel and wooden.
Right.
Well, there was a time when there wasn't steel. It was just wooden roller coasters.
Right.
The Matterhorn changed that. The Matterhorn created this new category of steel roller coasters, and every steel roller coaster you see today, you can trace it back to the Matterhorn because that's the first roller coaster that tried to do it, and of course it was successful. It's still standing right now.
Now, Arrow was well known for being who created, they designed, correct?
Yeah, Arrow was the company that made the Matterhorn, and they were, I think it was a collaborative design because Disney has their Imagineers, and most of the rides, maybe, the Imagineers have some kind of hand in it, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't just purely Arrow, but it was a combination.
A collaborative.
Collaborative, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. But it was Arrow who came up with the idea of the tubular track, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of the problems they were having was the fact that, one, they needed the bobsled to be on something so it didn't go running off the track.
Of course, right.
You know, throwing people off the mountain, which would be very kind of funny, but bad at the same time.
I mean, you can't have multiple rides. You just get one ride at that point.
One ride. That's it. You're done.
Yeah. Next.
But the thing is how do you keep this thing from going down and also making it smooth, like you're really sliding on ice.
Right.
And it allowed them to bend
in different ways that a wooden track wouldn't.
Yeah.
So it was the first time they could do maneuvers like the tight turns and the banked turns, you know, smoothly and efficiently. You know, the wooden track wouldn't accommodate that.
Right. So that right there in itself is the first ever.
Yeah.
And it's true to what you say, because I researched it myself. It was the inspiration and the pivotal point that really changed roller coasters that we know nowadays.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And what people enjoy and I don't.
You will. Don't is not the right word. You will.
I don't enjoy.
You owe me a ride. So.
I do. So which one was it? It was Time Traveler.
Time Traveler.
In Sept City, yeah.
Yeah, and then Sandy still owes me an Outlaw Run.
Yeah, I just thought about it, writing that. I'm nearly wetting myself thinking about it. And everybody's going like, are you serious? That is such an easy ride. I'm like, you know, well, how old is your daughter?
Which one, 8?
Yes. We really hope you enjoyed that clip from the Ride Guides podcast. The full 1-hour episode will be released on September 4th at 2tenderfoottourist.com or anywhere else the 2 Tenderfoot Tourist podcast is available.